I get asked all the time, do I need to be a great artist to be an animator? Or do I need to know how to draw in order to animate? And the answer is very simple, but it also depends. What kind of animation do you want to do and how easy do you want it to be? Because first of all, if you're trying to do traditional hand-drawn animation, then you can probably guess that, yeah, you're gonna need to know how to draw. But that's probably not what you're asking. And in all other cases, the question pretty much becomes the same as, do you need a tablet to do animation? Do you need a certain type of monitor? Or do you need a specific piece of software to animate? Maya, Blender, whatever it is. These things are tools, and everybody's got a different workflow, different tools work better for different people. And the thing to keep in mind is that the better tools you have, the more tools you have in your creative arsenal, the better prepared you're gonna be to come up with a creative solution as efficiently as possible. Now, some people will tell you, some teachers tell people that you have to know how to draw in order to be an animator. I don't know where they're hearing this because that's not true. You don't need to be a great traditional artist to be an animator. For example, I know an animator at Pixar who's insanely talented, and in his own words, he can barely draw stick figures. And on the other hand, there's people who were 2D traditional artists. They were animators back when you had to draw everything, and they're still in the industry and they're making amazing work. So let's break it down by type of animation, how being able to draw can help you or maybe hurt you if you can't. 3D animation generally doesn't have a lot of drawing in it. You are manipulating a CG puppet, a 3D character in the computer. You're not drawing it on any frame, which is great because it means you don't need to draw the character. Now, being able to draw is going to be a huge bonus because the first thing you're gonna do when you animate a shot is you're gonna plan your shot. And if you're not doing that, well, you should probably start doing that. Because it's a lot faster to rough out ideas and iterate and find things that work and don't work, different poses, different acting choices, different mechanics, options that you can do. It's faster to figure that out by just drawing quick sketches, even just little stick figures. They don't have to be good, they don't have to be even anatomically accurate or proportionally correct. It's so much faster by just drawing it than posing the entire character to see if you like it and then maybe scrapping it and trying again. That's why a lot of students get really stuck into a certain idea and it makes it really hard to change it later. They get very attached to it because of how much time it takes. So this process of just doing quick little sketches, little stick figures, is called thumbnailing or thumbnail sketching. Literally anybody can do that. Now on the other side of the spectrum, you have storyboarding. All the way over there is an entirely different department of artists who are fantastic at drawing and can do it really, really fast. Storyboards are all about being expressive, clear, and providing enough information about the characters, the story, the moment, whatever it is, to convey the intention of the shot. Why is it there? What's happening? What's going on? Now between storyboarding and thumbnailing, there's a big section and you're probably somewhere within that. And stick figures are completely okay. If that's all you can do, that's not a problem. But if you can make your stick figures a little bit more robust, add a little bit more detail to put more information about what it is you're gonna be animating, try to show the weight, even with the stick figure. Where are the hips? Which direction are the shoulders going? Is there a twist in the torso or in the chest? The more information you can put in this stage, the less work you'll have later to figure out and tweak and keep changing and wasting time. More planning, less struggle. There's even animators who will do what's called sketch blocking, where they will block and sometimes even animate their entire shot in 2D to where you and I would think, wow, that looks done. You just have to like color it. And then they take that and then they put the 3D character on top and they follow it. They've already made all the choices. Now they just have to redo it with the puppets. And that's a very extreme case, but the idea behind that is that you are figuring out what is happening in your shot in a way that is much faster to just try stuff. It's not good. Try this, scrap it, try this. That's something, okay. That takes a lot less time than posing the whole thing. And again, all you really need here is a nice robust stick figure or maybe a gesture drawing if you want to get fancy with it. Now, do you need this skill to be an animator? No, not at all. But if you want that skill in your tool set, you can learn. I've also linked a few books down below that'll help a lot if you are interested in learning that kind of stuff. And there's also videos on gesture drawing on Skillshare, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Now fast forward, we were animating. Is drawing helpful during the animation process? Yes, in draw-overs. If you haven't heard of draw-overs are exactly what they sound like. They're a form of animation feedback and critique. It's someone who watches your work and literally just draws on top of it. Maybe they're amplifying the expressions, pushing the poses, cleaning up the silhouettes. The thing about drawings is that they're very clear. You only have the lines that you put on the paper to look at. There's no distractions. With a 3D character, you've got the rig, you've got the shading, you've got, whatever is going on with the character, the clothes, the colors, all these different things. There's a lot to look at, and when you're working on a shot for a long time, you get used to all of that, but you're not really seeing each moment, each frame, each pose for what it is. But when you even just draw whatever that pose is, just pause, draw it and turn off your background and look at the pose, you can probably make it stronger. And it allows you to make better changes faster and earlier, most importantly. So in this case, drawing can be a huge benefit, even if you just know someone who can do it. Now, do you need that skill to be an animator? No, but you can learn it. Now that's an easy answer for 3D animation. Let's do a hard one. 2D animation. Have you seen a bunch of the shows that are on Netflix or Disney Plus that are 2D animation? A lot of those aren't hand-drawn, but some of them are. For example, have you seen Klaus on Netflix? If you have not seen Klaus, go watch it. Klaus, as of now, is my favorite Christmas movie. It is so good, and every frame of that movie is hand-drawn animation. It was animated using Toon Boom Harmony, and then there was a lot of proprietary lighting, custom techniques developed to give it the look that it has, but all the characters, everything in it, it's all hand-drawn and animated. And like I mentioned before, the software package you use is just a tool. It's something there to help you get your job done, to accomplish whatever visual style you want with your skill set and whatever workflow you need to work it. On the other side, you've got Rick and Morty. Very different show. It's a 2D show where obviously the characters are drawn, someone had to draw them, but they're rigged, they're puppets. All of the characters were created as these 2D rigs that behave very similarly to what you'd expect in Maya or Blender or whatever else where you're manipulating a puppet. This is also animated in Toon Boom Harmony. Same exact tool that did Klaus, totally different workflow. Now, one more. Let's do a really interesting one. This one blew my mind. VR animation. Do you need to know how to draw to animate in VR? Now there's kind of right now 3 ways to animate in VR that I'm going to touch on. One is more or less motion capture type of stuff. Another one is, again, the puppet type of thing where you can marionette a character, move them around in 3D space, and pose them in VR. Very similar to Maya or Blender, that kind of approach. But what about if you were to animate using Quill on the Oculus, where everything you see is a brush stroke? When I first saw the work that was being done in Quill, I thought, well, you have to know how to draw to do this, obviously, right? Well, when I was still at DreamWorks, Goro Fujita, who is doing some of the most amazing animation and work in general in Quill, if you haven't seen his stuff, go on, he came to DreamWorks and did an entire VR demo and showed us in like 30 minutes to an hour. He created a whole scene, like an entire world. It was insane. And he approached VR much more like painting than anything I had really expected. So I thought, okay, well, I guess I need to know how to paint light and color and value and all that kind of stuff. Which, by the way, there's classes for all that stuff over on Skillshare. Again, we'll get to that later. But as I watched closer, his workflow was actually really similar to a 3D approach. He was basically 3D modeling in VR with a brush. So let me pose a question. How do you do a bouncing ball in VR? Do you draw a ball and have it bounce? No, because drawing in VR is still just like a flat thing. When you turn your head, it's just a flat line. It doesn't really work as a ball bounce. So a 2D approach doesn't really work. But then how do you do it in 3D? Do you make a really big circular brush and make a blob? It's just kind of imprecise and hard to art direct. But as I watched Goro's workflow, I learned something. If you apply a 3D mindset to a 2D skill, you can basically just draw a line, duplicate that line, and make a sphere. And that we know what to do with. That's just like Maya. We just move that, squash and stretch it, and you've got a bouncing ball. We know how to animate that. Or maybe flip it, and maybe you think like a 2D artist, but in a 3D medium, and you can create these crazy effects, fire, all kinds of sparks and things like this. Now you're starting to open up some possibilities, and we don't need all that much artistic ability to figure that out. It's just kind of getting over the hump of like, how do you do it? Once you know, the doors are opening. The point that I'm getting at here is that being able to draw isn't a necessity, but it opens a lot of doors. It's a really cool tool that you can use in all kinds of different ways. It's something that can make your life easier or add a ton of versatility to you as an artist. It's the same as being able to paint or understanding cinematography or understanding a piece of software really well and how to get what you want out of it, having an ergonomic mouse, a certain monitor, or hotkeys that make you fly through your work much faster. You don't need these things to be a great artist, but they can help you work faster or just more easily. If you have no drawing abilities whatsoever, you have 2 options. Don't draw, because you don't have to, you don't need it, or start learning. And you don't have to become the best. You don't have to learn for the sake of becoming this great fine artist or getting any kind of a degree in fine art or drawing or whatever it is. You're just improving enough to give yourself a creative edge, and keep in mind, you don't have to show anybody your drawings. And if you do have that tool, develop it, use it, take advantage of it. Because there's so much you can do with this kind of stuff, and there's never been a better time to learn. There's resources everywhere. For example, I've been wanting to get better at painting, not because I want to go paint on a canvas, but because I want to understand light and color, value, those kinds of things. Concept art amazes me. So I've been watching a lot of videos on Skillshare about concept art, how to paint and understand that type of stuff. so that I can apply it to my animation and my other creative work in interesting ways. And there's tons of other topics. There's cinematography, figure drawing, gesture drawing, all things that can help you become a more rounded artist. This is the part where I tell you about today's sponsor, Skillshare, which I have talked about in other videos, and if you haven't seen those videos, subscribe, take a look around. I bet there's a bunch of stuff here that you're gonna like. But Skillshare, if you don't already know, is an online learning community with thousands of classes, tons of topics, creative stuff, business stuff, all kinds of skills for you to add to your arsenal. Whether you're a beginner, a professional, or just dabbling in something, there's something there for everybody. And most of the courses are under an hour, which makes it really easy to add these things to your toolbox. And there's a link down below that will give you 2 months free of Skillshare's premium membership to watch whatever you want. So make 2020 the year that you explore new skills, deepen existing passions, and get lost in creativity with Skillshare's online classes. And I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it helped answer the question. I get this question all the time. And the answer is usually simple of no, you don't need to know how to draw to be an animator. It's not required in the job description. There's so many other ways to animate. But if you can learn it or you do have that skill, it is a big benefit. If you enjoyed this video, hit this button, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on new videos, and check out my new website, which I linked down below. I just finished it, I'm very excited about it, and I think it'll be a nice little hub for people to find all the different things that I'm doing and to share it with a friend. If you have a video in mind that you think they should check out, send it on the website. Also, if these videos are helping you, consider supporting the channel on Patreon, link below. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.